Hi everyone, we're going to talk about distributive property today. This kind of extends on simplifying expressions. So we're still simplifying expressions. Now we're going to use distributive property to do that. So look on the left-hand side where it says recall. So you want to remember that when you have parentheses, you're going to multiply the A times both things on the inside. So A times B. I'm going to rewrite that so you can read it, hopefully. A times B, and then A times C. So on top there, you do A times B and A times C. You're going to do the same thing on the bottom, except you have a negative. So A, positive A times positive B is AB. A times negative C is negative AC. So remember that when you have a positive times a negative, sorry guys, I'm not doing so well with this pen today. AB minus AC. Alright, so that's what we're going to use looking at these examples. So let's get started. Example 1 says 7 times x, and then 7 times 4. And that's it. Distributive property, you multiply the number on the outside times both parts on the inside. And then don't forget your sign as well. Number 2, you've got 2 times b, which is 2b, and 2 times negative 3. Number 3, you've got negative 4 times y, and you've got negative 4 times positive 12. A negative times a positive is a negative, and negative 12. All right, number 4, negative 5 times m, and negative 5 times negative 2. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative plus a negative, it stays negative, but a negative times a negative, all these rules you have to remember. A negative times a negative is a positive number. All right, number 5 has the negative outside the parentheses, so that's what you're multiplying by now. So negative 1 times y is negative y. And negative 1 times negative 9, again, 2 negatives when you multiply, becomes positive. Number 6, 8 times 4. And 8 times negative b, negative 8b. This time the variable was on the inside, which is okay as well. All right, so number 7, negative 4 times negative w is a positive 4w. And a negative 4 times a negative 10 is a positive 40. All right, number 8, 5 times 2m is 10m. And 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and a negative 3 times a negative 4, 2 negatives again, is a positive when you multiply. Number 10, 3 times m is 3m, and then 3 times n is plus 3n. On number 11, you have x times y, and then you have x times 4. Even though it's x times 4, we always write the number first. So that's the same. x4 is the same as 4x. So get in the habit of writing the coefficient before the variable. All right, number 12, d times c. And d times negative 4. Again, I'm going to put the negative 4 before the d. Number 13, we've got 6a times b. So that's just going to be 6ab. And then 6a times 2c. So multiply the numbers and then bring the variables along too. So plus 6 times 2 is 12. A, C. Don't forget both variables. All right, number 14 is still distributive property, but now you're distributing to 3 things inside the parentheses. It works exactly the same way. So you're going to have 2 times x, and 2 times negative y, which is negative 2y. And then 2 times positive 8 is positive 16. Number 15, we've got x times 2y, which is 2xy. And then x times negative 5 is going to be negative 5xz. Again, make sure you have both variables there. And then x times 1 is just 1x. Now you can put just x or you can put 1x. The 1 placeholder is assumed if you don't put it there, but it doesn't hurt to have it if that kind of helps you out. All right, I moved the screen down a little bit so that we have, so I have room to work here. So numbers 16 through 18 has fractions, so let's look at the difference. All right, so we have 1/4 times 8x. So you're multiplying a number times a fraction. Okay, you can use your calculator, but it's good just to know how to do these in your head. If you do 1 times 8, that's 8. 4 times 1 is 4. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. So you can simplify 1/4 of 8 is 2. And again, you bring your x. Now, what's 1/4 of 4? Well, that's just a -1. So even though that has a fraction, hopefully that doesn't look too terribly bad. All right, number 17, again, we multiply two fractions straight across. So number 17, you multiply the numerators. When you multiply the numerators, you get 3. And when you multiply the denominators, you get 30. And 3 divided by 30 reduces to 1/10. Now my pen's not going to work. Let's see. 1/10. All right, so 1/10 x. And then 1/6 of 18. Since 18 is on top and 6 is on the bottom, that's the same as 18 divided by 6 because that would just be a 1 underneath it. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. So hopefully you get to see that fractions are not always too terrible. All right, let's look at number 18. You've got a negative times a positive, so go ahead and bring your negative down. You've got 1 times 4, which is 4. And then 8 times 5 is 40. And again, 4 divided by 40 is 1/10. Again, we want to bring the x down. And then 1/8 of -24. So I've got negative and a negative, so I know this is going to be a positive. Go ahead and take care of your sign. And then 24 divided by 8 is 3. So fractions, hopefully not too bad. All right, on the next part, to simplify an expression means to ensure there are no parentheses and no like terms when you finish. In order to do this, distribute first. If needed, then combine like terms. So this is going to use some of what we learned in the last section as well as what we've been practicing here today. All right, so let's get started. Number 19, you're going to distribute first. So 8 times 2 is 16. Bring down your x. 8 times -3 is -24. And then this one's not in parentheses, so we just bring it down. Now we look at this and we say, oh, these have like terms. So we need to combine those. So 16x minus 6x, 16 minus 6 is 10x. -24 just comes down. All right, number 20. 9 times 2 would make that 18k. And 9 times -4 is -36. And then we have two sets of parentheses, so we have to distribute again. We're going to distribute this -2 to everything over here. So negative times a positive is -14k. -2 times -12, two negatives make that positive. 2 times 12 is 24. Again, we need to combine like terms. We have 18 minus 14, which is 4k. And then we have negative 36 and a positive 24. The negative is bigger, and it's bigger by 12. So negative 36 plus 24 gives us a negative 12. All right, number 21. The 10 is not in parentheses. We're going to bring it down. The negative is what we're going to distribute. So bring the negative to both of these. So it's going to be negative y. And then negative times negative is plus 6. And then bring down this negative y as well. Now we have a negative 1y and a negative 1y. 1 and 1 make negative 2y. And 10 plus 6 is 16. Now if you need to, put a 1 in front of this negative here. If it helps you to distribute, make sure you put that negative 1 there. All right, 22, bring down your 6 plus 32w minus 8 times negative 7 is negative 56. And then over here again, we're distributing a negative. If you want to put a 1 there, so you know that's a 1, you can do that. You don't have to do that, but some people like to do that. So negative 1 times positive 2 is a negative 2w. And then a negative 1 times a positive 1 is negative 1. Combine like terms, 32 minus 2 is 30w. And then we've got 6 minus 56, that's minus 50. And then minus 1 and minus 50 is minus 51. Okay, as always, if you need to pause this before moving on so that you make sure you get your notes, go ahead and do so. All right, the last two have fractions, so let's get started and we're almost done. All right, so 9 times 10 is 90 over 12. 90 over 12 does not reduce to a non-fraction, but it will reduce further down to 15 over 2. And don't forget to bring down your x to do that as well. Here, if you put this over a 1, you'll see that the 4's reduce, and that leaves just negative 9, because 9 over 1 is just negative 9. That is a 9. Sorry, that's hard to read. And then over here, I've got negative 1/4 of 2. That's still a fraction as well. So that's going to leave you negative 1/2 x. And then a negative and a negative make this positive. The bigger number here is on top, so 8 over 4 is just plus 2. Now I have 15 halves minus 1/2. So 15 minus 1 is 14 halves, and 14 halves is just 7, or half of 14 is 7. Negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. So that simplifies down to 7x minus 7. So not too bad. All right. Now 24. The first thing I'm going to do is see if there's anything I can reduce. 4 and 8 are both reducible by 4. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 8 2 times. So this just makes it a little easier to simplify. So now I've got 7 times 1 and 2 times 5. So my fraction is 7 over 10. Again, bring down my x. And then I still got 7/8 and times 16. So 16 over 8 becomes a 2, and then 2 times 7 is plus 14. So I know I'm doing some multiplying math in my head. Again, you are welcome to use your calculator if you need to do that, but try to work some of these out in your head and just check them with your calculator. It's good to have that mental math skill. All right, so here we've got 3 halves times 1/2. Again, we multiply across the top. This one's not going to simplify first. So we've got 3 over 10x. And then the 10 and the 5 will reduce. So both of these are divisible by 5. 5 goes into 10 twice. 5 goes into 5 once. So 3 times 2 is